It's the great Natalie Compton standing by from the Washington Post. WAPO. WAPO. WAPO.
WAPO.
And you read Natalie all the time. Matter of fact, she got a piece up here just telling me about it.
I was,
Talking about how not to melt down or to handle your meltdown.
Well, how the holiday travel could be a meltdown from easy to extreme. My favorite part of it, the easiest is get insurance. The hardest, and we'll ask her about this, is don't go.
We love Natalie. Christmas travel, New Year travel deals, all that, as she joins us, the Washington Post Natalie Compton. Do you not travel for the holidays because this is your business all year long?
Oh, no, I'm absolutely traveling, and I am going a week early, which is part of that how to prepare for holiday meltdowns. Just get out early and don't worry about it.
And where are you going?
I'm going to Fresno, California first. Where
Wait. Tropical Fresno? Not just anybody can go there.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be beating the crowds to Fresno, California.
The masses.
Be
yes.
Crazy there. It's going to look just like Saint-Tropez, but I'm going to be there until then. Actually, a slightly more glamorous destination on the 26th through New Year's, New Orleans. So that'll be an exciting time as well.
You know, if they say Fresno is the New Orleans of that part of California.
They do. They're always
do that.
saying that.
Is your family in Fresno? Why are you going to Fresno?
My family's in Fresno. My grandpa's out there. I got two uncles there, my parents. So the gang is there, and the siblings are meeting there as well, partners, nieces, and we're going to have a great time the way people in Fresno do.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I see a Hallmark movie happening in Fresno this week.
There ain't no party like a party in Fresno. After we do traffic on the other side of the break, we'll talk about maybe some deals or some places you should be thinking about going into getting out of the cold weather in January and February, that type of thing. But before we get to that, talk a little bit, Jane, if you would, about this piece. What else does she highlight? What is Natalie talking to us about?
The number one easiest thing you say is buy travel insurance. But what I have always heard is that travel insurance could be a scam. They're just trying to get you to spend some extra money.
Perfect time for you to clear this myth up.
So there are definitely times that you want to buy travel insurance and times that it doesn't really make sense for you. A lot of people get burned by thinking they're covered for certain reasons, and then push comes to shove, and they're like, oh, that wasn't actually what the deal was. So if you have, for example, this happened for a lot of people. They were worried about going to Egypt right now. Obviously, there's a lot of turmoil next door, but because nothing was actually happening in Egypt itself, travel insurance companies were like, you can't cancel because you're worried about that region. We're not going to pay you for canceling this trip. So with things like traveling for the holidays, you got to make sure that you are aware of what kind of thing you're covering. So if you're just one person and you don't care if you get there a little late or, you know, if your flight's canceled, no big deal. Travel insurance might not be for you. But if you're planning for a family of 5, a bunch of flights, you got to catch a cruise on Monday, you're going to be out a lot of money if you miss something like that along the way.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So things like trip cancellation or trip interruption, you're losing money because you're missing a day of it, or you need to stay overnight in a hotel. Travel insurance can be really helpful in covering costs like that.
The major insurance companies, many of them do offer travel insurance. Some are specialty companies that do it. I know Warren Buffett owns a couple of companies that do travel insurance. Who do we look for? Just the best deal?
Allianz is a good one. You want to make sure you're looking at companies that are not rando, hole in the wall, the lowest possible deal. Look for brands that you have heard of. You know, Allianz, you can see them pop up with airlines at the end of your booking process. They're like, would you like to insure your trip? So it's a brand people are familiar with. It's a brand travel planners have told me they trust and use. So I would go there. You can also compare travel insurance packages on SquareMouth. That's a good shopping platform to see what's covered, what's not. And because this is like a very confusing, very boring topic, calling those insurance companies and asking them what exactly does this cover is helpful too, so you don't get burned later.
And you said SquareMouth is a comparison.
SquareMouth is a good comparison marketplace. And even if you're not sure, do I want to buy travel insurance? Check with the credit card that you booked your travel with. Sometimes they will cover things like meals at the airport or a hotel or something if things are going wrong. I know Chase that I have comes with a lot of travel insurance coverage, even things with rental cars, so you don't have to book, every kind of insurance package that the company offers. So see what you already have, and if you want to supplement more, then you go to Allianz or a different company.
And Natalie, one of your tips should be in the travel Bible. And I know nobody wants to get up early. I can't get up at 4 to catch my flight at 6, whatever. But you say book nonstop early morning flights because there's less chance of them being delayed or canceled.
So this is true all year long, but especially when things are getting busier. And then when you throw in winter weather, that could happen at any time. This is still important. The earlier in the day you fly, the less chance that flights before you have been delayed or been canceled, and now people are scrambling. Airlines are trying to get back on track. So the earlier you fly, the less likely that you are dealing with a snowball effect of airline schedule. So if you can be the first out, amazing. The later you get, the more chance for calamity, but it's not a hard and guarantee that you will have disaster later in the day, but you just improve your odds. And then with nonstops too, if you can, they're obviously often more expensive to get that premier I don't have to stop anywhere flight. But if you can eliminate the potential for disaster by laying over somewhere and then you get hit with weather somewhere else or delays somewhere else, you might be able to save yourself some headache there.
And when we come back, Natalie will explain something here which needs explanation. She says in extreme cases, you might even want to book more than one flight.
That seems a little eccentric.
More with Natalie Compton, Washington Post, WAPO, and Natco everywhere on social, yeah?
NatBco, yep.
NatBco.
NatBco.
Oh, I dropped the B.
At
What's wrong
WAPO.
with me? I follow her everywhere. Our friend Natalie Compton from the Washington Post is with us. She's writing all the time, but this is another one of these great pieces. I think you ought to jump on WAPO and get. And the Washington Post, nice gift for the holidays. Easy one to knock down.
Good subscription.
9 ways to prepare for holiday travel meltdown from easy to extreme. I mentioned right before the break, Natalie, this idea that in extreme cases you might want to book an extra flight. How's that work?
So I'll start by saying people do not recommend this on the whole. Some travel expert that I spoke to was like, this is actually kind of a jerk move because if we're all booking these flights we're not intending to take, you are taking away inventory that is going to make the airline then raise the prices on the rest of the flights. They're like, oh, wow, this is a hot flight. We're selling these tickets. That must mean there's demand. We can raise the prices. And then lo and behold, you never intended to take it. So I will say not ideal. And if everybody does this, it's not a great thing. But I do know people in my life who are doing this because they were burned last year in the great Southwest meltdown, and they are not going to let that happen again. So they're booking backup flights. So you are ready to go on Wednesday, whatever, your flight's delayed or canceled, everything goes into chaos, but you have a different flight booked on a different day or from a different airport or with a different airline as this last result, I'm still getting out of here. So it's not for everybody. If you book and you didn't intend to fly on that airline again, you cancel, now you're stuck with these credits, that's a problem. But if it's an airline you plan on flying again and you get that flight voucher, it's not a huge loss for you.
And this is different than skip lagging or hidden city ticketing where you book a connector but you get off before the connection flight.
Right. Yep. That you are hopping off. You never intended to take that last leg and you're just doing it because you found a cheaper flight to New York and you're getting off in somewhere else. So this is different because you probably didn't intend to ever take this backup flight unless you needed it.
Yeah, and skip lagging is probably not great either, in the big picture.
Yeah, well, doesn't it jack up the prices because then all the tickets are booked and for extra tickets they're going to raise the rates?
Right. For both of them, it's not ideal because the airline thinks we have this demand on this certain route, and so we're raising flight prices for the rest of, what's left of the inventory. But with skip lagging, it's more the airline is mad at you, whereas with buying a backup flight, everyone's mad at you. With skip lagging, I don't feel the same ethical, this might be wrong, because the airlines are arbitrarily charging you more for a flight that goes further than you needed to go. You're like, I remember coming back from Vietnam, seeing that flights to D.C. were super expensive and they went through New York. But if I found one through New York to D.C., it was cheaper. And I just kept feeling like, these are the same length. Why are you charging me?
Yeah, well, it forces you to play games. It forces you to, play complicated games and all that. So, yeah, I would agree with you. But then again, I normally do. Natalie Compton, Nat Bico, all over social media. Again, read that piece. There was one of your colleagues wrote something that I was confused by about the overheads being empty on planes.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a thing? Because I don't remember overheads being empty.
Ever.
I remember people going, I'll just shove my crap above your seat, and then I can't get my stuff where I want it to be.
So what's funny is that I've definitely been in both situations. The one that you're talking about, everything is so packed, there's not a way you could even fit a little purse up there.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been multiple times recently where I've experienced this, my colleagues have experienced this, which led to the piece of the flight attendant says, you're going to have to gate check your bag. Or even out at the gate, they say, sorry, we've already reached the capacity. You're going to have to check. And then you get on board and there's tons of space. And you're thinking, what's going on? Am I taking crazy pills? Well, it's that airlines are trying to get out faster. They know that we are so slow when it comes to like getting on board, playing that Tetris, finding space. And even when there is a lot of space, it just slows people down. So if they can gate check more bags, it goes faster. It's not a very sexy reason, but
no, well, not an ideal situation.
Don't the gate agents get bonused getting those flights out?
Right. They are not paid until the doors are shut and the brakes are off and you're traveling. So the longer it takes to board, they're not getting paid. That's, not ideal for a flight attendant. That's really the airline's fault, not yours. But if you're going late, that's bad for everybody. And like we said, everything is so delicate right now with packed schedules and inclement weather potentials that any little opportunity to leave right on time or early is good for the airlines.
Is that week between Christmas and New Year's still a dead week and a good week to travel?
Honestly, I was taking a look at flight deals this morning on exciting warm weather beach destinations. And if you were willing to travel between the 27th and the 30th, you can get some incredible deals from places like Chicago to warm weather destinations like Puerto Rico or Mexico for literally under $300.
Wow.
So if you have opportunity in your schedule, you can still absolutely find last minute deals to ditch your family or see your family and then get out of the country real quick and go be warm for a week and come
See
back
the
that
sun.
first week of January.
And once we get into the new year, I don't know if you're seeing trends or stuff, and this is a cliched question, and frankly, I'm better than this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Things into January, you seeing anything that says, here's something you got to look at for a deal to get out in January or February?
Honestly, because so many people travel over the holiday break, you can see tons of deals going into January and February. That is a slower period, so you do find more deals. I do not know why I keep saying details, but I just saw a flight deal for Hawaii. There was a stop in Los Angeles, but this was from the East Coast for $300. So
wow.
If you do sign up for websites, I say this all the time, but going.com, it used to be called Scott's Cheap Flights. I get these emails every day and I go, could I go to Brazil next week? It's cheap and I'm tempted all the time and only my wallet stops me from doing it. But I get these emails all the time that talk about these last minute, meaning like, a month in advance, 2 months in advance. I'm seeing deals to Europe for January and February, places like Italy or Spain that'll still be very dreamy if you go, although you won't be super warm if you went compared to Mexico or Puerto Rico. But we're seeing lots of deals. So if you had time off that you could spare in January or February, I would look to Europe and I would look to warm places like the Caribbean and Mexico.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, that's a good problem.
I can't imagine you sitting down with whoever you report to about your expense account anyway, or whoever books travel at the Washington Post, and they go, Natalie, what is this trip? You go, well, that's my job. I'm flying. It's my job.
And look at the great airline price I got.
Right.
Right. Yeah, sorry. Did we say there was a story in the Caribbean? I don't remember that.
It's all reportable. If we don't talk to you before the Christmas holiday, obviously Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays to everybody in your world, and thank you for all the great information.
Safe travels to you all, and have a happy holiday season.
We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Natalie.
That's Net
B.
Co.